The Northern Territory Government have recently released the Northern Territory Homelessness Strategy for 2025 to 2030, marking an important step forward in the Territory's commitment to delivering improved outcomes for the many thousands of Territorians experiencing or at risk of homelessness. The strategy and action plan sets out clear priorities with a strong focus on early intervention, place-based responses, and embedding the voices of people with lived experience to inform system design and delivery. I'm joined this morning with the Chief Executive Officer of NT Shelter, Annie Taylor. Good morning, Annie.
Good morning, Floyd. Thanks for having me.
So what are your thoughts on the new homelessness strategy?
Look, it's really exciting that we've got a new homelessness strategy here in the Northern Territory. And what I think is really important to note is that it's not just a strategy that is a piece of paper. It's also underpinned by significant new investment from the Commonwealth Government and the Northern Territory Government in homelessness, which was announced last year as part of the federal government. And that's really exciting because we've gone from having about 1.3% of federal funding when it comes to addressing housing and security and homelessness in the Northern Territory. We've actually had a 7-fold increase in funding, and you and I have spoken about that before. But that means that what underpins this strategy is additional new funding to actually roll out new homelessness programs in the Northern Territory and expand the existing programs that we have. So over the coming few years that this strategy covers, we're going to see additional programs on the ground, and they could look like accommodation programs, drop-in centres, so for people who are in our urban centres experiencing homelessness or rough sleeping, they'll have more places to go where they can go and get some support. They can do their washing, they can have something to eat, they can chat to people about what they need. There's just going to be more supports around. So I think, it's always good to have a strategy. That's always a positive, but what we always want to see is that strategy is underpinned by investment and funding so that we can actually meet the actions in that strategy.
You guys sound very excited that the funding has been boosted up, which is great. But was there a clear and like a responsible housing supply being mentioned within that strategy?
No, so that's what we really need, and that's something that I mentioned actually on the day of the launch of the homelessness strategy. We had the sector there, and that was something that people were talking about, is that we absolutely need a supply plan because we have a chronic shortage of social and affordable housing in the Northern Territory. Look at the wait list in, let's take Alice Springs as an example. It's up to 10 years to get into social housing. So
wow.
You've got it's a long time, and you've got over 5,500 people in the Territory on the social housing wait list. So they're waiting up to 10 years and sometimes even more. So if you don't have housing, how do you truly end homelessness? And if we're serious about ending homelessness, which we are because we've got this strategy, we've got the funding for the programs, but we also need the housing to go hand in hand. And it's not just about ending homelessness, it's also about the Northern Territory's economic growth. And I think that's what we need to think of as well, is how do we attract workforce to the Northern Territory? How do we improve our livability if we don't have the houses that we need in the Territory? And we need to increase our housing supply.